Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to Bardstream number 17. Going to be showing off a couple of monsters from my upcoming book. And if anyone is interested, I'll be combing through the comments for ideas and concepts for lore for said monsters. These creatures are going to be in my upcoming book, Esper's Emporium of Esoterica. Got the link down in the video description. It's a 5e book, and it's nearing its completion. I'm very far along. Ran it through Kickstarter, and it has all kinds of different 5e content in there. There's a ton of monsters, an original class that I've been developing for a long time, subclasses, races, spells, feats, magic items, cursed items, magic shops, and other stuff as well, Dungeon Master advice and other. So I don't have a guest this time. I'm going to be focusing on showing off these monsters and on your comments here. So feel free to drop a line anytime. Hey guys, how you doing? So let's jump into the first one. I've tried to get myself organized here. I think what I'm going to do is just share my whole screen. It's a little bit weird for me to do that, but I think this is going to be the best way to go about this. So I can't actually see your comments. All right, let me do some repositioning of these windows. The tiling of windows is an art form that I must utilize with some frequency, and by that I mean every day. Hello, Brand. I think I saw you on a prior stream. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I fiddled around with how to show this off in the best way. So how does this look? Does this look okay for me to show it off like this, where we've got the stat block over here, the text over here, and the monster art on the right? Let me see if I can't move this and maybe get the creature a little bit bigger. Okay, yeah, I like that better. Okay, cool. So the first monster here, I think we're going to do a couple of these. So I've got 3, and we'll see what we get through. The first creature here is the Orb Dragon. It is one of 2 dragons that are in the book, the Orb Dragon and the Astral Dragon. So I have very, very loose ideas and concepts as to what this creature actually is. So let's see if we can't come up with some lore for it. I think first what I'll do actually is go through the stat block, and I think that's going to help inform the lore. What I'm looking for is the lore and the art as well to coincide, to fit with the stat blocks and the mechanics. So the Orb Dragon, I've got the ancient one here, but like all dragons, it's got the different ages and different size categories. Oops, it comes in at CR 22, so it's not the strongest one ever, but not the weakest one. It's kind of in the middle, or maybe upper middle. It can fly and it can swim. It has some skills, particularly relating with Arcana and with Perception, and it has a variety of damage resistances. Most of the dragons have like 1 damage immunity. This one has a number of resistances. You'll see why that is when we get into its orb here in a little bit. The general idea is that it's a dragon, a type of dragon that I don't know if they construct them or if they're born with them. They have this deep connection to this magical orb, and they're very magical and arcane types of dragons. Let's see, they're amphibious. Okay. The dragon possesses an orb to which it is bonded. If it loses the orb, it can't use any option marked. Oh, okay. So unfortunately, the text software that I'm using, OpenOffice, it is screwing this up. This O is supposed to be a superscript, and I'm not actually sure how to do superscript on this. Where would superscript be? Is this a superscript here? No? There we go. Boom. Okay. So there's a number of options throughout the stat block where you see this little superscript O. So any option that has an O, you know, is an option related to its magical orb. So if it loses the orb, for however, it can't use any option marked with that O. It can, however, summon its orb back into its grasp as a bonus action. And I'm getting some lemon water going here. That's why you might hear these squishy noises. Okay, so it's got some innate spell casting. It has so these O's, those are supposed to be superscripted O's. Sorry, guys. I thought it would be weird to just straight up show my Google Docs to the whole world on a live stream. So I'm running it off of this open office. Okay, I think that looks all right. Thank you for bearing with me as I'm fiddling with the formatting here. Okay, there we go. So you'll see some of these spells are related to the orb. Detect magic, identify, mage hand, prestidigitation. Those are at will things it can do when it's holding its orb. And then these once per day spells are like what any dragon could do. You know, any dragon can have these once per day innate spells. Clairvoyance, dispel magic, mass suggestion, prismatic spray, telekinesis, true seeing. So you see the theme that's going on here. You know, it's like it's looking into its orb, into its crystal ball, getting these divination type effects, and then also this prismatic effect. You're going to see here in a little bit, there is a prismatic theme with this dragon as crystals and crystal balls and other type crystalline glassy effects cause the light spectrum to show the entire rainbow of colors, which we can associate with the different damage types. Okay, it's got legendary resistance, like all legendary dragons do. Its multi-attack is a little different than most dragons. Most dragons will do like a bite, claw. This one actually does a bite and 2 orb pulses or a tail attack. It has a really long tail. So the orb pulse is an at-will ranged spell attack you can do with its orb. Yes, it's not pulseo, it's a pulse with the little superscript O, so you know it's related to the orb. So it can do these at-will force orbs that it shoots out, or these pulses that it shoots out. It's got a tail whip, it's got a bite, standard stuff for a dragon. It's got a breath attack that recharges. It exhales vivid colors in a 90-foot cone. And you roll a d6. The DM rolls a d6 to determine what the damage type is every time it blasts its coruscating breath. So it could be cold, fire, lightning, poison, psychic, or radiant, thus relating back to the resistances. It has a reaction, which is not Mirror Spell O, but is Mirror Spell O for the notating the, you know, it's an orb ability, and needs to have its orb. When it sees another creature within 60 feet casting a spell, it can try to copy that spell as a reaction. And the dragon and the spellcaster, they go into an Arcana check contest. And if the dragon gets a higher check, it replicates that spell and can immediately start, you know, firing it off, choosing new copies for the target. So, you know, the enemy, the player character rather, enemy from the dragon's perspective, the player caster casts magic missile. It will orb the magic missile and cast its own like magic missile, or maybe a cure wounds, or whatever the target is that the dragon is seeing casting. So there's this nice orb mirroring, reflective, glassy, crystalline, scintillating divination. Those types of themes are going on with the dragon. Has its legendary actions. It has an orb gaze. Again, the O signifying that it's an orb ability. It can gaze into its orb and gain true sight out to 120 feet, and it can see through solid objects and into the ethereal within that range. It can do a tail attack, and it can teleport up to 60 feet. It also has some layer actions, but we won't worry about those for now. All right. So, lore concepts. What I'm looking for here are interesting details, storytelling, and adventure hooks. So I want interesting things about this creature. I don't want lore that's just telling us what we already see. I don't want lore that's generic. I want an interesting story. I want some kind of plot hook that can lead characters onto an adventure, or it's like a little seed or a little nugget that the dungeon master can use when running this monster. Okay, let me see if I got any comments here. Okay, yeah, we do. All right. Tim Thyssen, my initial thought for Orb Dragon is it's artificial. The creation of a mage of some kind and bound to the orb as a way of to limit it if it went rogue. Not super feeling that one. I think that would be a cool idea for more like a construct dragon, or maybe some kind of elemental dragon. Brand, as I'm probably going to say your last name wrong, so please forgive me. Brand Asgir. It can be some special orb that is made in the depths of the Astral Plane. A bunch of shellfish that reside on the corpses of dead gods. So that would actually give it a connection with the other dragon in the book, the Astral Dragon. So I wonder if there could be an interplay between those two, because the Astral Dragon actually flies up and has an ability where it can fly into the Astral Plane from certain special mountaintops that they imbue with their magic. The Astral Dragon is a lawful neutral dragon, and the Orb Dragon is a chaotic neutral dragon. Let's keep going. J.K. Lindsay. Amphibious makes me wonder if the orb could be some form of pearl that takes a long time, special circumstances to grow. Well, pearls are pearlescent, thus the word. So that prismatic effect works, but pearls are opaque. You can't see through them. They're not translucent. And that doesn't seem to fit with the crystal ball theme, where you look into the crystal ball. So these are good ideas so far. I'm just looking for one that I think really fits. Ribble Subscribble, perhaps a dragon stained by the astral plane, much like the shadow dragon is stained by the Shadowfell, causing it to have the instinct to craft an arcane orb to enhance its powers. So again, that would give it some connection with the astral dragon. And I'm concerned of stepping on the astral dragon's toes. If I can make these things distinct, I will. But I'm not ruling out astral connections with the orb dragon. That actually might end up being a way to go with it. Astral Plane. I had not thought of Astral Plane for the Orb Dragon. So I'm going to mental note that, because you're the second person that has mentioned Astral Plane with this creature. So if it didn't have a connection with the Astral Plane, but we stuck with your theme where, like, you related the Shadow Dragon to the Shadowfell, or the Plane of Shadows, what other plane would the Astral Dragon be related to? And I have to be careful here, by the way, guys, because it's a third-party independent product that I'm going to be releasing. So I can't be using like official Wizards of the Coast intellectual property. And I don't want to. I want to be respectful of that, and I want to be respectful of the open gaming license. So yeah, I can use Astral Plane. Astral Plane is general enough. I can use Plane of Shadow, Plane of Fairy, Elemental Plane. No one can copyright stuff like that. But I can't use like there's like specific the seven mounting heavens of Celestia. And this creature wouldn't fit for Celestia anyways. It's chaotic neutral. Limbo? I don't know if he's that chaotic that he's connected with Limbo. I could create a plane, or I could create a small, would that be a demi? No, not a demi plane. I guess it just would be a plane that these creatures are connected to. But I don't have to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them being in the world. Even the Astral Dragon, they live in the world. They live up top the tallest mountains in the world, and they, have these regional effects where these planar crossings form high in the air above the mountains, and they fly up there and they cross into the astral plane. But they do dwell, well, when they're not flying about the astral plane, they do dwell in the world. They can be in the astral for a while. Okay, I'll keep going here. Okay. Owen Keenan, yay, Rainbow Dragon for Pride Month. It does have something of a rainbow theme with the light spectrum and prismatic, though I tend to stay away from real world references, like contemporary modern feeling stuff. I try to stick with a more fantasy world, like that feels like an old world, an ancient world, a medieval, even a Renaissance type world, something that feels classic and well, old and magical. Oh, that does a weird vortex effect if I bring that up. Okay, let's keep going. Mark Lewis. Oh my goodness. Sometimes the StreamYard comments view just jumps. Mark Lewis says, I made something similar. A two-headed Omni Dragon has all chromatic and metallic dragon abilities with other stuff. That's certainly an Omni Dragon. Owen Keenan, maybe its orb can be used for a specific ritual. Yes, I think that's very fitting. Orb used for a specific ritual. You know what I'd like to do, guys? Actually, I want to get caught up on the comments. So I can be like live getting each comment as it comes. So let me read through this real fast and type real fast. Victor D20, if you want some plot hooks, I need to know what the Orb Dragon hoards. Well, that's part of the lore session here. What does the Orb Dragon hoard? Okay, so let's put that as a question. What does it hoard? Okay. Brand, wild magic could be a thing for them. They could be hatching only inside wild magic areas. Maybe so. They are chaotic neutral. Wild magic connection only hatch in areas of wild magic. RYDH. Why not a sort of archetype for true dragons? Young dragons undergo ritual and bound themselves to the astral plane. For example, by signing a pact with a dead god, killer, draconic. Sorry, I've read that incorrectly. For example, by signing a pact with a dead god killer draconic entity. So you're the third person to mention astral. So maybe there is something astral going with this dragon. Astral plane connection? Okay. And the orb is what stabilizes them. Orb stabilize. I can spell. Okay. Victor D20, the Orb Dragon seems like a true dragon rather than a dragonkin. Agreed, it is a true dragon. Yeah. I guess I should have said that there's two true dragons in the book. There are some dragonkin in there as well. The dragon might be the least common creature type in the whole book. Okay. Brand, they might have some sort of trade going on for them. Yes, the Astral and the Orb Dragons. Okay, so yeah, this is why I need to get caught up on the comments. Okay, let me get through these real fast here. Mark Lewis, your dragon can be tied to a sacred or profane pantheon at the time of creation. The orb is a god, demon, or devil-powered magic item. Maybe. They are chaotic neutral. And I didn't initially get any extraplanar alignment-based creature connection feelings like demons and devils and celestials and stuff. Ribble Subscribble, maybe a dragon who sells their services of divination to those who can gather certain jewels to build their hoard in exchange for a telling of their future. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Seems quite fitting. So Oracle dragons, adventurers, seekers seek them out. That seems redundant. Pilgrims, travelers, people. We'll just say people. People seek them out for auspices, fortune telling. Fortune telling doesn't quite capture the grandeur of it, but it'll work for this note. And then what was the other bit you said? Certain jewels. Jewels. Okay, well, jewels, obviously, I think it fits the hoard. What does it hoard? Shiny jewels. Like translucent ones. I don't think they hoard. Yeah, most jewels are shiny. I want to say translucent. They don't hoard opaque things like bloodstones and jade, and maybe they don't even hoard a lot of gold. Translucent jewels, divination objects, mirrors, fountains. What else is related with divination? Well, I could just say, I just put divination objects. I guess that's generic enough. What else might they hoard? Like favored things that they would hoard. I get something of an Asian theme with this dragon, by the way. That was part of my initial inspiration for it, was the Japanese dragons, which sadly I'm not as well versed in those as I should be. So there is a bit of a Japanese dragon theme going on with the Orb Dragon, and I'd like to, draw upon some of that too. Japanese myth, I put that in there as well. Glass and crystalline objects. Okay. All right. Mr. Dudestein, the dude abides. Glass objects near the creatures take on a strange appearance. Like glass objects that are naturally growing in the terrain of the dragon's lair? Or do you mean like glass objects that the characters might have, like potions? I like natural glass and crystalline growths at layer. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Owen, maybe related to hags in some way. Crystal ball seems hag-like. It does, but not just hags. I mean, plenty of wizards have orbs, sorcerers and other mages and fortune tellers. RFS caveman. What about the ethereal plane? What about the ethereal plane? I dig it. I like this dragon having more of a relation to ethereal plane than astral plane. Ethereal plane might be better. Yeah. I mean, it's got so much mist, and mist is always associated with ethereal plane. When you're on the ethereal plane, you're seeing this misted reflection of the world, this misted echo of the world, kind of fogged out. And the artist, by the way, the artist is the highly talented Ashkan Ganbari. You'll see a number of his works in the book, and they're all spectacular. So the artist was on to something and chose to add in a lot of mist. I think I requested actually the orb. Yes, I did. I requested the orb rising up out of mist, and it's like this violet mist. Yeah, I think an ethereal plane connection could be cool. And perhaps this is kind of similar, but sort of balances out the astral dragon. Yep, cool. The real Holtznator, formed by the magic existing between dimensional planes, made manifest by excess energy released from beings traveling between the planes. Well, that's an interesting detail. Unfortunately, I can't copy and paste, but I'm just going to do a quick thing. Formed by or drawing from energy discharged when beings travel between planes or teleport. That's pretty cool. Pairs between planes. Limbo Dragon sounds awesome. Maybe not this dragon, but still awesome. Yeah, I agree, Owen. I think a Limbo associated dragon would be really cool, but it's not this one. I picture it being even more chaotic. I mean, this dragon is chaotic neutral, but it's not like chaotic neutral. It's like chaotic neutral that focus on, I think, more on the neutral. Thomas Buckley asks, can you use key? Yes, I can. I've been thinking about somehow creating creatures that have a connection to player classes. Having a dragon that leads a group of monks could be interesting. Yes, I think monks would fit. And it also does have this Japanese myth, a little bit of seed of that connection with monks. Now, I can't promise I'm going to use all of these concepts. This is sort of a shotgun effect that I'm doing here. And then I'm going to go through and, like pick out what I think are something's going to just call to me, really. It's kind of me picking it out, but it's more just I take the time and something will reach out and grab me. Tim Thyssen, night hags have their hearthstone that allows them to ethereal travel. Perhaps this dragon was trapped in the ethereal at one point and harnessed the power of the plane into an object. That is true. Night hags have that ethereal bit. Let's make a quick little question mark. Night hag connection. Yeah. Hoards marbles. There might be something in that. Marbles. Is there a marble magic item? Not sure. Ghostly tumor. Maybe visitors climb massive mountains just to ask the dragon to tell them their future or ask for magical knowledge. I think so. I think this dragon has that role, or at least it's like a mode that this dragon can go into, where it's a sort of seer, oracle, and characters will seek them out for divination. Jonathan Scondrel, or maybe Scondrel. A dragon that has a soul separate from its body, like a lich's phylactery, which harnesses for magic and divination, would be cool. It's similar to a Dracolich, and I don't quite feel that with this dragon. They hoard glass, lol, yeah. Translucent jewels, yes. Hoard charms. You have a charm person on its... It's a suggestion, not a charm person. That's similar to charm person, though. Owen Keenan, give it an alternate glass breath, other glass transmuting effect, like that one girl from the Nevers. I'm not sure about the Nevers. Let's see. The Nevers. I know the never-ending story. A touch of power can change the world. I'm a little out of touch, unfortunately, with different series, different streaming series. This book has taken over my life. Huh. Okay. Well, we'll see. I'll have to see what that's all about. Study its habits. Maybe hags and mages try to steal their orbs for the power of it. That, sir, sounds like an adventure. I love it. Hags and mages try to steal orb dragons' orbs. Now, they can summon their bound orb back into their hand. So that's a fantastic challenge. How do you get the orbs stolen? I mean, you could slay the dragon, so I'm sure that's part of what hags and mages might try to do. But maybe there's something more interesting that could be at play there. Something more than just, bust in the dragon's lair and kill it for its treasure. Maybe there's something that complicates that, and you need to find a way to put the dragon into a slumber. Dragon into a slumber. Yeah, there might be something specific in the lore of a way to get this dragon to slumber, and then while it's sleeping, you've got its orb and the power of its orb. But if it ever wakes up, watch out, it's coming for you. The Phaser 100. Just say this when looking for a zombie D&D podcast. Have any suggestions? Oh, there's an end in sight. Jonathan says, or a dragon that obsesses over collecting powerful artifacts which coalesce into a pool of raw magic that inhabits and gets warped by. Maybe. Mr. Dudestein, piezoelectric crystal attack. Not sure what that is. Victor D20. This is a rough draft from Adventure Hook. A shaman requires a jewel from the horde of an orb dragon for a ritual he must perform. However, the orb dragon is being held as a captive by evil spirits. Jewel from horde of orb dragon required for a ritual. Might use that. Brand is off to sleep. Farewell, and may your dreams be adventurous. Connor Sabalik, and my apologies if I butchered your name there. Hoarding different types of tea would allow them to do tea leaf readings for adventurers. That's cool. I don't think I've ever heard of a dragon hoarding tea. Tea leaf readings. I dig it. It also fits with Japanese themes. Tim, okay, yeah, you're responding to the marble there. Beads of force, beads of fireball. That's it. That might have been what I was thinking of. Can it summon the orbs between planes? I believe so. Let me see what I wrote. I've already got the mechanics done for this creature, but, you know, last minute revisions can always happen. It can summon the orb back into its grasp as a bonus action. So, yep, just wherever it is, poof, there it is. But are you thinking that that's like part of the challenge is to get the orb into a different plane? Or get orb to a different plane. Specify dragon cannot summon bound orb between planes. So it'd be a slight tweak to what its orb, the orb, recall back to its hands, and that would introduce a complication, a challenge. That might be cool. Shadow Jumper. Maybe they use the orbs and glass objects they keep to look at their reflection and keep them shiny to look at their appearance to make sure they always look their best. That, yes, like a green dragon or brass dragon, where it's very the green dragon's very narcissistic and the brass dragon is like extremely outgoing and extroverted, and they're very into their looks and in their charms. Maybe this dragon, I'll zoom in on the art a little bit. It's a little more frightening than that. It's not quite, I don't think, like the really social extrovert charming dragon. RS Caveman, could these crystal balls or beads be eggs? I don't think they're eggs. I think they are truly crystal balls or orbs. RYDH, its orbs could be its real existence and stabilize him. His body is made of mist. They're more a concept of a dragon than a real dragon. Removed from temporal axis, their body allowing to act. I like that concept, but I don't think it's right for this creature. It is a true dragon, but I'm going to see if I can't remember that concept because I do like it. Mark Lewis, it hoards spells or souls. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a kind of spellcaster-oriented dragon. So spell items like scrolls, spell books, etc. Okay. The orb is his offspring too. I don't think so. I think it truly is an orb, like an arcane focus, a magical item, a wondrous item. Owen Keenan, maybe it's divination, can't be used on itself, so it will never know what will happen to it. So it aggressively hunts down other diviners in order to trade information so it can learn of its own destiny. Again, the complications always lead to storytelling. That's something you all can remember. If you're not having a lot of inspiration coming to you, or you feel kind of dry when it comes to like plot hooks and storytelling, it might be because things are like lacking complications and twists and challenges, and they might just be too broadly smooth, like too all powerful, right? Things need to have flaws and complications and little kinks and caveats. And well, it actually doesn't function if it's the full moon, or they're allergic to seawater. And there's always like this kryptonite bit in there. So I'm about done with the lore concepts on this one. Then I want to go to the next monster. It cannot use its own divinations on its own future, thus seeks out other diviners. Oh, cool. Got a super chat here. Thank you very much, Bertie Sanders. I love your fantasy short stories. Do you have any currently in the making? What's your process for writing them, and fantasy myths? I do. In fact, I have a narrated interactive adventure, Dungeons and Dragons adventure, that I'm going to be running on my channel once the book is done and I get it launched and it's rolling along. So there'll be more of that to come. Other than that, other short stories, just like fantasy stories of mine, I'm not currently working on any. I have lots of concepts in my head. Also, after I get the Emporium book finished, I want to get back into trying to get my fantasy novels published, like traditional fantasy novels. My process for writing them, that is a really, really big question. And I could talk about that all night long. There's so many different ways. So I will tell you one way and one approach that happens a lot with me is that I will have a dream. It could be a dream at night while I'm sleeping, or it could be a daydream where I'm just allowing my mind to do whatever it will, where I'm just kind of open to any inspiration. And daydreams can come at any time. They can come very quickly. I mean, it can happen if you're in the shower, maybe if you're driving on like an empty road while if you don't instinctively always grab your phone whenever you have like a little pause, like you're waiting in line at the supermarket or something, and you make yourself not be like this phone has to always be in my hand habit, and just be and just exist and take in the world around you and observe what's around you. That's a kind of form of daydreaming as well, because, or maybe even a form of meditation. I guess I'd put meditation in there too, where you're just allowing whatever to come up out of the mists, out of the ethers, out of the subconscious, out of the environment. You could be in nature, you could be at the park, you could be sitting by the river. So all of these dreams, in the broadest possible sense of the word dream, I let something come to me. I open my mind and my heart, and usually something will come. It's kind of like fishing, right? You cast out the bait and you wait, and you're hopeful, and you give it some patience, and you're kind of connected with nature, and that's relating back to the dreamy meditative thing. And sometimes you just get a little bite and you just get a little fish, but the little fish can be nice too. And sometimes you get a whopper, and that's probably something you can turn into a short story or a D&D adventure or something of that kind of short to medium length. And sometimes if all the stars are aligned and the current is flowing just right, and you've happened to have used the right bait and you hummed the right tune by the water bank, you catch a leviathan. And that can be an entire campaign. It can be a novel. It could be an album that you write, a painting that you do, a series of paintings, a collection of poems. It might be the greatest artwork that you ever create in your entire life? That's as short of an answer as I can give to that question. Okay, I'm going to try to pronounce your name and not completely mess it up. Satarua Feng. So, what if the orb is either A, an egg, or B, a globe of representation? By globe of representation, does that mean that it has like an illusory image, like a hologram effect inside of it? It might have that. Hologram like illusory images within orb, maybe project, like it projects them. And it definitely does not come out with a princess that says, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi." You're my only hope. All right. Hideo Kojima. Hey, this is interesting. I just mentioned I wanted a bit of connection with a Japanese myth, and that is a highly Japanese sounding name. Hideo Kojima. If you do happen to be Japanese, either by nationality or just by ancestry, and you know anything that could be helpful to me for this dragon, please contact me. Send me an email, esperthebard@gmail.com. Just my channel name, esperthebard@gmail.com. I would appreciate that. And if you are not such a lore keeper, no problem. Thanks for stopping by. Mark Lewis, that's Revenant ability for revenge. Nah, Kitten Hat. Agreed. I miss the stories. I miss the stories too, guys. I think about it all the time. The stories and the narrated adventures. It's like something that is ringing at my heart almost on a daily basis. I'm gonna get through this book. I love the book. I really love it, but I need to get through it. Okay, so let's go on to the next creature. I really like these concepts you guys gave me, so I appreciate that greatly. Let's go on now to a giant known as the Nesh Nag. And there we are. This is the Nesh Nag. Artwork here done by Mario Teodoso, an Italian artist. He's done a number of great pieces for the book as well. The Nesh Nag is a large-sized giant, so it's not a true giant in the sense of like fire giant, frost giant, but it's a large size, so about ogre size or troll size. It is pretty strong, though. It's substantially stronger than an ogre. It actually does have a power level of something like a fire giant. They are, as you see, they have a strange two-headed arrangement. They have these two heads that actually share a mouth that opens horizontally. And they wield these strange weapons. I wanted some exotic weapons for these creatures. And they have a curse associated with them as well. So they've got the dual head ability where they get advantage on perception and saves against being stunned and frightened and things that are like mental. They have some innate spell casting. They can do shatter at will, which I believe is this like magical shout is really what that's supposed to be expressing, like a bellow that has innate wild magic or innate giant magic. And then 3 times per day, it can cast Howl from Beyond. This EEE is also supposed to be a superscript thing. That is, I just realized I can do this. Can I superscript it from here? Oh, I can. How about that? Throughout the book, anything that is like a reference to content within Esper's Emporium of Esoterica will have this EEE noting it. Howl from Beyond is a fear spell, and it gets more powerful as you cast it at higher slot levels. It can do a multi-attack, making 2 attacks with its Yavakaz. It has a Yavakaz. That is the name of the weapon the creature wields. It's sort of like a morning star, but there's something different about it, and you can probably get a glimpse of that from the artwork there. It also can use Curse of the Nesh Nag. The Nesh Nag targets a creature it can see within 30 feet of it. The target makes a charisma save. On a fail, it's cursed. The cursed creature takes psychic damage. Each time the cursed target makes a damage roll, it takes psychic damage. Yeah, so the cursed creature, upon hurting others, it hurts itself simultaneously. The idea, I have a real quick note here. Yeah, the idea is that the curse makes the person divided against himself, like an inner conflict curse. So though you are hurting another, striking your foe, you are simultaneously hurting yourself. Horrendous Howl, that's the shatter, is at high pitch. I'm not sure if I want it to be high pitch or low pitch. Maybe it could be like the throat singing thing where it's actually multiple octaves simultaneously. Yeah, I like that. So multiple octaves simultaneous. Why does this not autofill in? Okay, it's return and open office. Simultaneous, high pitch and low pitch. Okay. So Nesh Nag. It's a strong, brutish, giant creature with a kind of horrifying dual head sharing a mouth. It also has some innate, a little bit of like wild, I think these are chaotic evil creatures. Whoops. Neutral evil. Okay, so not wild magic. So I guess it's giant magic. It's dark magic. They're associated with dark magic and curses and such. This Yavakaz weapon that it wields here is translated as Thornheart. I also wrote this thing, Burstar, short throwing morning star. I think that was in the original draft of it. It had a thrown weapon, and I took that out and gave it the shatter. Okay, so I don't think the Burstar is needed. Yeah, let's forget about that. Okay, so let's get some lore, some additional lore concepts going. Maybe we'll go through this creature a little bit faster. So again, this will be kind of a shotgun spitballing effect. Let's see if we can just get a few little seeds and something might grow out of them. Okay, Lazy 420. Oh, actually, there's a couple more comments about the Orb Dragon. What happens if you destroy the orb? Removing the orb severely kill or weaken the dragon. If you take the dragon's orb, it doesn't have access to those magic abilities that have the orb icon noted next to them. So it takes away a lot of its magic. It has some, and it says it's like bite and tail whip, but you've taken out like, half or 70% of its magic abilities, including that ranged orb pulse. What would happen if you destroy the orb? Okay, does it just need to make a new one, or is there like some kind of magical drawback or repercussion to the dragon if its orb gets destroyed? What if dragon's orb is destroyed? Harmful effect to it? Okay, so we've moved on from the dragon. Let's focus now on the Nesh Nag. Okay. Okay. Owen Keenan, that thing is tainted by something. It truly is. My initial inspiration for this creature was a Lovecraftian monster. And I think it's actually just called the Gug. I think Nesh Nag is like a nod and homage to the Gug. Yeah. Yep. Here it is. So that's the Gug. It's in, I think, just one of H.P. Lovecraft's stories. I don't remember it being in more than one. And see the mouth opens like down the middle of its head. So I draw a little bit of inspiration from the Gug for my Nesh Nag. All right. So is it tainted by the Far Realm? I can't use Far Realm. That's like a copyrighted thing. But I could use From Beyond, right? I can say things that are obviously alluding to eldritch horror and cosmic horror. Perhaps an Etten warped by necrotic magic. Not quite undead, but still warped to be seen as so. Do I want it to be connected to the Etten? I think some people are naturally going to make that association or compare them because they're both large-sized giants with two heads. I need to make a decision about that. Are they connected to the Etten? I think I'll make a decision on it and put a little note in the lore about that, even if they're not connected to the Etten. Like, scholars generally agree that the Nesh Nag, despite some physical traits that seem to be similar to the Etten, is not actually related to the Ettins. Or maybe they are Ettins warped by necromancy. Tim Thisson, maybe an Annis hag, probably my favorite hag, by the way. Maybe an Annis hag adopted an ogre or hill giant child, warping it in a hideous fashion similar to a hag. That could be cool. Hag warped an ogre or hill giant or giant child. Giant child? Let's say giant's child. Child giant? I don't know. That's confusing. It just sounds like I'm talking about a big kid. There we go. Giant child. There. Old. Tim Thisson is onto something. Maybe so. I do like hags quite a bit. They're one of my favorite creature types of all time, and they're effective on a number of different levels. So giving them a connection to hags, of which there are two hags in the book, by the way, the Cinder Hag and the Shadow Hag, which I'm very pleased with both of them. Shadow Jumpa. This thing kind of reminds me of the Predator. So maybe it looks for powerful adventurers to fight and gain rank within clans they are a part of. Why does it remind you of the Predator? Maybe the weapon seems a little exotic or alien-like. It is a little alien. They have a touch of something eldritch going on. And like I said, there was this initial Lovecraftian seed that spawned this creature. RYDH. Let's say it's one person whose mind was cut in two parts, but who can only act and speak as one. What if they're not really evil? Looks too brutish and strong to be a good villain. Person. Why did that change font? I don't know. Person or maybe ogre or giant. I guess an ogre is a giant, right? Person or giant whose brain or head was vivisected must speak as one. It'd be more interesting for it to be one person whose head was split in two, or it to be two heads that, like, the lower jaw was removed and then the heads were fused together. I don't think this is a science experiment or a fantasy equivalent of a mad science experiment, which would be like a mad wizard experiment. I think the creature truly is this way, though there might be something in the lore of the backstory where it's like the original Nesh Nag was like an eldritch horror or a demon lord fused two ogres together. Eldritch lord or demon lord created the original Nesh Nag by fusing two ogres together. And the power of two ogres, maybe, right? Okay. Eric, I came late, but I'm starting from the beginning to catch up as I've really suffered from DM writer's block, and this is what I need. Man, that is what I'm talking about right there. That is what my goal is with this book. Is it's just going to be bursting full of ideas and inspiration and great art and strange creatures and myth and magic, and it feels very traditional and like classic fantasy, and at the same time it feels stylized and avant-garde and like experimental. It's this like great mix of order and chaos and dark and light, and there's really freaky dark things in it, terrible ugly horrors, and there's like beautiful things and angelic things and captivating fae, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of NPCs. It's just it's overly ambitious. I'll admit that now. I bit off more than I could chew. That's why it's taken me so damn long. But I think it's going to be worth the wait. I think in the end, what we're going to have is this nice, thick tome with a lot of pages and just absolutely steeped in role-playing ideas and story hooks and stuff to fill your mind with all kinds of wondrous ideas. So that's my hope. That's my big dream, man, is to like really inspire people, and they take that inspiration and then they go and they create something of their own, and that like lights up other people that are like their friends and groups that are close to them. That gives me such a wonderful sensation of true joy. That motivates me. That's like what gives me reasons to get up in the morning. Owen Keenan, maybe one of the heads is good aligned and drove made as its stronger evil half commits vile acts. I think there might have been a slight typo in there, but I think I'm getting okay. And drove it mad as its stronger evil half commits vile acts. There is something darkly tragic about that. It's like psychological horror where one of the heads is a good person, or maybe it was like a good ogre, not an evil one. And due to this curse, it was like bound, fused with the vilest ogre in the tribe, and just forced to helplessly watch and behold as it's connected to this horrendously evil ogre and is one with it now. That's the type of stuff that drives stories right there. That's what I'm talking about. So I'll make a note. I might use that, I might not, but I like the idea. Cursed because there was a good aligned ogre and horror slash giant slash demon slash god, whatever the powerful entity that warped it, fused it with the vilest ogre in the clan, forcing it to become the very evil it loathed and helplessly observe the mayhem and slaughter it commits. Okay, I dig it. RYDH, any representation of internal dilemma? Why not two alignments simultaneously? So this kind of relates to what I was just noting there. Why not two alignments simultaneous? The autofill-in is return on this, but it's space bar on Google. That's throwing me off. Okay. Chosen One 102. Is this for the book you're making? Yes, it is. Once again, the link is down in the video description. That's where you can pre-order the book. I am hoping and praying I'm going to have this thing done within a couple months. I'm really far along. I also do updates on my Kickstarter page. RFS Caveman. What if one brain was the one who had control of its magic and the other was more brute force, and only one head was in control at a time and can alternate between the two either randomly. I like the concept. I don't know if that's quite what this creature is. I'm not quite feeling it for this one, but I do like the concept. And in fact, there's a bunch of random effect things just throughout the entire book. There's creatures that do it. There's spells that do it. There's like a Paragon Wonder that does it. There might be a magic item as well. There's a bunch of things in the book that are like, roll on this little sub table and see what wonderful effect fate has in store for you. And I love random tables so much. One of my favorite things about tabletop role playing. Des Garner, H.P. Lovecraft is a good inspiration source. That he is. Maybe the good head is actually trying to aid the adventurers while fighting it. The real Holtzinator. After betraying giant kind, this creature and its kind were cursed with diminutive size and the growth of a second mind, which constantly torments the creature. And this is released as a psychic attack. That's a hell of a curse for a giant. Being reduced down to a tiny size. Wow. So it's a curse for a giant. Curse to inflict upon a giant is what I mean by that. Reduced to tiny size. I don't know if that will work for this monster. Maybe, maybe not. But that's a nice little seed there. Sidney Schulman apparently went haywire with the copy paste. Undead Etten that turned into an undead horror from beyond. Well, it's not undead. It is a living creature. I'm still debating about the Etten thing. If it's truly connected with Ettins or not. Chosen One 102. What book? Esper's Emporium of Esoterica. Just check the link down in the description below. Mr. Dudestein. Parents of twins tell scary stories about it to make them behave. I love that. Parents of misbehaving children tell them scary stories about the Nesh Nag. And the Nesh Nag, they can smell when a child's been bad. He'll come thumping late at night. He'll wake you up from your sleep, getting a good whiff of your naughtiness. Almost not naughty bits. No, naughtiness. Naughtiness. Don't let the accent fool you. And he'll steal you away to his lair, and he'll pound your bones into flour with his great club. And he'll make your bones into bread, and he'll chew the bread for 7 days to come. Nesh Nag's coming to get ya if you don't quiet down and go to sleep. Nick Aldridge, I love the Shadow Hag in the preview. Thank you very much. It's pretty much that. It was a quite developed creature in the preview, so I don't expect it to have much changes at all in the finalized book. And she will be alongside, or at least like on an adjacent or coming directly after, it's alphabetical, the Cinder Hag, which I think is going to be another fantastic creature in the book. Owen Keenan, maybe one of the heads is good aligned, but okay, got that one already. Bertie Sanders, once again with a super chat. Thank you very much for your generosity, for throwing me a couple gold coins here. Have you heard of GURPS? Yes, I have. Maybe these giants owe their ugly appearance to being cursed by an entity. Okay, so these are two different questions. I have heard of GURPS. I've read some about it. I've never actually played it myself. My opinion is that agnostic systems, systems that are just like very open, a generic system, right? Generic universal role playing are not. There's something that's sorely missing from a system like that. Now, of course, it has its advantages in that you can turn it into anything and make it into anything, and it's this sort of clay that you can mold on your own. So the openness and modding and sandbox quality to it is essentially maximized, right? It's put all of its game design points, or that's maxed out its game design attribute and openness and versatility and flexibility. People really like characters. People really like specifics and classes and archetypes and settings and world building and things that are defined and have like a story and a history and a personality to them, and the names. People really, really like that. That's something that stays with us. Human beings are highly oriented towards people. We're very, very social beings. So we're very oriented and hypersensitive to people, characters. We're also very, very oriented towards storytelling. In fact, each of us lives in a story, essentially. Each person has their own story going on. Each one of us lives in our own individual narrative, of which you are the protagonist. You are the main character of your story in your book or your universe. And that's how we actually orient ourselves in our lives and in the world. And we go about our life in that way, in like a story-based mode, where you have like the plot of the goal that you're aiming for, and there are like these challenges and conflicts you have to navigate and tackle along the way, or escape from, or there's all these different, and there's an infinite number of different challenges and conflicts that can come your way. And there's not an infinite number of ways of dealing with them, but there's a lot of different ways of dealing with them. People are really, really oriented towards these things. It's hard to get away from that, man. It's very hard to say, well, don't worry about a story that's like the cradle, the like, the foundation or the structure of this game. Or you could even think of it as like a field, like a plantation, a crop, a garden, even. And the story would be like the soil. It's like the rich soil and the seeds and the rain and the sunlight and all those wonderful things. It's really hard to take that away, and it's hard to take away the characters. So that would be like, oh, we're going to take away also the gardener or the farmer who's out there, working the soil and planting the seeds, and has got like the farm animals that help him and the farm implements and tools. It's hard to take that away. I mean, can you think of a successful game or book or movie that doesn't have a setting, doesn't have characters? It's just this open thing. There might be something, but I don't know. Maybe these giants owe their ugly appearance to being cursed by an entity. They are definitely cursed. So we need something about that. Figure out curse. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, we could easily go with Lovecraftian eldritch horror cursed it, and that seems to work fine enough. But what if I like things that are a little more specific and unique, if at all possible? And I understand not every monster can have a lot of lore. Sometimes you only have space for 2 paragraphs, or maybe 2 small paragraphs, or 1 big paragraph. Maybe I can include something about what I just talked about, my little spiel about the generic agnostic systems. Wanted to be everything and a forever open slate, which tragically doomed it. Because you can't remain an open slate forever. I mean, no one can do that. I guess blank slate is the term, but whatever. I've coined open open book and blank slate and put them together. I've now coined open slate, which tragically doomed it, as it was eventually forced by life to become something. Yeah, you have to become something sooner or later. Thus splitting it into two heads. So this is like continuing with this not forever, with this question of, are they fused together or were they split apart into two? I will figure that out. And this is helping me. You all are helping me. So thank you very much. I pretty much need to be wrapping up here. Sorry, my copy and paste is stuck. No worries, Sydney. RYDH, once a glorious race of ogre look-alikes. One of their head retained their culture and magic. They committed a crime, were punished, and their second head is pure fury, is usually the one in control. So maybe one head is chaos and one head is lawful. One head's chaotic and one head's lawful, and that like balances out that access to neutral. One head is lawful, one head is chaotic. That's pretty cool. I do like that. Successful game with no setting or characters, Tetris. Thank you. Very good. I guess puzzle games. But, I mean, does Tetris have no setting? Isn't the setting Russia? I think the setting is Russia, but there is no character. That is true. It's not a curse. It's a blessing from some alien horror. It's not a curse. It's a blessing from some alien horror. Yeah. One man's curse is another alien horror's blessing. Des Garner, would they have a stench that could cover X amount of space? No, not a stench monster. Though this artist does like to use a lot of mist or smoke or dust. There's a haze effect on a lot of his art pieces, which is nice. Okay, everyone, I think that about does it. I did have a third creature on here, so even though we don't have time to brainstorm lore ideas, I will just show it off real quick, just to satisfy anyone's curiosity. What's going on? Why am I not? It's not letting me scroll through this. Zoomed out. I guess I got zoomed out. There it is. It's the four-armed skeleton, aka the Ossilegatus. Yeah. Also like bone and legatus, like a legate, like a magistrate or a high-ranking soldier of some sort. I don't know. Maybe we can do this next time if I'm still next month needing lore concepts. So basically, I don't want the skeleton to just be, it's the four-armed tomb guardian that just it guards a tomb of a powerful creature. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'd like something a little bit more. So I'll stop the share. Thank you all very much. Greatly appreciate your feedback and ideas. And again, I won't be able to use them all, but I will. Some of them are going to speak to me. I'm seeing I got a super chat here, so let me actually get over to that. I'll run over a little bit of time, no worries. Victor D20. Hey, Victor, how's it going, man? My mandatory donation of gold. May your book be successful and your worlds built on solid grounds. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I really hope the book is successful. The Kickstarter was successful, and that was amazing. It was one of the greatest days of my life. I was really just so honored and grateful and pleasantly surprised that so many people showed me support at that level and are facilitating me to realize my dreams, to manifest my dreams as an actual physical product, as an actual book. It's incredible. And it sometimes leaves me at a loss for words. I have this vague notion that one day I'm going to have to actually go to some place like in person and talk to people at like a convention or something. And I'm just used to being an internet guy and just talking to my computer. And obviously I have my like personal friends here in real life that I hang out with, but I've never, one time ever, I've been a speaker at a convention. It was a writing convention here in my hometown of Wichita, Kansas. And I was a nervous wreck, but I got through it, and people seemed to like the presentation that I gave. They seemed to get something out of it, and they came up and talked to me afterwards. And I was really happy about that. But I'm not accustomed to it. It'll be really nerve-wracking for me. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to be so articulate and talkative. I might just be a little shy and nervous and just say thank you a lot, because I truly am so thankful. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe the bard truly will come out in me, and I'll like give a lecture and shake 1,000 people's hands. I don't know. But the plan is to finish the book, of course. It's been delayed, and that's intentional because it's turned out to be more complex than I even imagined, and I don't want to rush it. I want to give everything attention and make it a good book, a truly good book that people can use for the rest of their life, that will last forever, and that myself and everyone who contributed with it can look back on for the rest of our life and be proud that we made this. So yeah, I'm going to get it finished, and then I'm going to launch it. I'll send out the copies to everyone who's pre-ordered and backed me on Kickstarter, both the physical hardcover and the digital PDF versions. And then I'm going to find a way to have the thing for sale. I'm not quite sure what platform it's going to be sold on. It might just be on my own website. I don't know if I can sell it on Amazon or something. Drive-thru RPG. I don't know. I'm going to get that figured out. I have other people that are kind of helping me to a degree with like the more business side of things that I need to get better at. And it will be available, and hopefully it'll be available forever. And hopefully people will buy the book and like the book and get a lot of value out of it. So thanks everyone for watching. It's been a really great live stream. I've really enjoyed this one a lot. Thank you for your comments and your suggestions. And hopefully those of you whose little concepts end up making it into the lore in the book, we'll see that in the book and get a little bit of amusement or excitement out of that, knowing that your seed that you put into my mind grew into a monstrous carnivorous plant that will somewhere out there eat somebody's player character. So have a good one, everybody, and look forward to seeing you again next month for the Bardstream, and I'll see you here in a couple weeks for my Mirrormorn live stream D&D campaign. And take care. May your adventure